All right. Hey, everyone. This is Brandon Hanna, and welcome to the first ever installment of Friends, Physics, and Film. I am joined today by a very special guest, Raul Rodriguez. How are you today?
Very good, Brandon. I didn't suspect that I was gonna get invited to another podcast, and this is very special because I'm talking to the person right in front of me. It's not like I always do a lot of podcasts like talking through Skype or Google Hangouts. So this is different.
Yeah, no, I thought it'd be really cool if we could just do it in person and maybe we'd get some better results, just like we're hanging out.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I guess just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um. Okay, I come from Brownsville, Texas. I was born there, but I was raised also in Monterrey, Mexico. Like all my education was in Monterrey. I'm an accountant, but how I always wanted to be in film, and I always wanted to. I noticed this when I was 18 because at first I wanted to be a doctor, and then that's when I noticed like the thing that I love the most is seeing film, like analyzing the story, the characters. But then my parents told me like, hey, you need to study something first, and then you can get to that. And a lot of years passed by, and then I stumbled to the Screen Junkies 2 years ago in my first Comic Con in 2015. I met them, and I was like, that was like I met them once, and that was okay. And then I got invited to the Screen Junkies fan group, and I started to meet a lot of people, like my friend Nolan Dean, Billy Pollahan, Morgan Robinson. And then by January 2016, I got declared the number one fan by the ex-head of Screen Junkies and the Signor, and then, but he was still almost the president of Screen Junkies back then, and then it started to meet a lot of people like Jack Shipley, Kimber Barrett, Tom Bennis, etc. Like so many people, Ashley and Joe, that I have met them in person, and we started the Tough channel in 2016, and then we started to get a lot of different guests. A plug, go to the Tough channel,
Yeah, no,
T.U.F.F.
definitely feel free to plug. I
and,
won't. Yeah.
and then after that, I met so many different fans, like in the Screen Junkie Central last year, also in the Collider meetup, and also this year also in Comic Con. Also, we just recently had our also on this summer we have our film meetup from Tough, and we also record an episode. And even though I'm not like involved right now with film, I'm already networking. I have met so many people from different backgrounds that are in the industry. Like I just said, I know all of the Screen Junkies. I already know all the Collider people. I just need my luck to meeting like a producer or director, like to get me in, and that's like without I'm ignoring so many plot lines. That's like my story right there.
So we met through Collider. We met at
Mhm.
the Back to the Future screening at the ArcLight in Hollywood,
Yep,
and then we bumped into each other again
in
at
the Shaun of the Dead.
the Shaun of the Dead at the Greek Theater that they promoted a little bit.
And so technically, this was destiny. Like if we
Yeah.
bump each other two times, like it's like we need to do it
And
again.
then there was a third time at LA Comic Con,
Oh yeah,
and we went to the Schmodown panel together.
Mhm.
That was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
you battled William Bibiani
Oh,
one
that
on
was so
one.
much fun.
Yeah.
And then I got a follow from William Viviani a week later. I was like, yes, yes, like they say the kids right now.
Mhm. So I guess I'd like to learn a little more about your Tough's channel.
Hmm.
What kind of content do you produce over there?
Well, our main show, Fan Friction, is like movie fights.
Yeah.
It's like a not 100% identical. That's the thing that we learned from it. Like we change it. There was an evolution. It's already like has like maybe like 20% from movie fights.
Hmm.
It's like the basis, and so it's almost like the same format, but Jack has changed it so much. Like right now, we have like a speed question first to decide who's gonna be first in the main question, and then after that question, the person that wins gets another speed round, and then the one that wins the speed round decides for the other question. So technically, the speed run is already alternating between the main questions, and
Hmm.
so that's totally different from Movie format. And also we ask both movies and TV, so we don't have fan friction for movies and we don't have fan friction for TV shows.
Hmm.
Also, in our channel, we also have the Upshape channel. It's at first they were on the same channel, but then where it branched to
Hmm.
their own channel. Kimber and Tom is like a call-in show. If we're talking, like, let's say, next week, we're gonna talk about Thanksgiving. Like,
Hmm.
what is the best Thanksgiving episode? What is the best episode that reflected the Thanksgiving message? Let's say the questions. I don't remember right now. What are the questions for the next episode? And so a lot of people, not only from the T.U.F.F family, people that from Twitter, from the Screen Junkies fan community, even people that they discover us, the only watches out there, we even have a friend that he met us through our community. And still until now we have met him since last year. He has never seen a Screen Junkies or Collider video.
That's pretty interesting.
It's pretty interesting. Like the only Collider thing in Screen Junkies that he saw recently was the Watching Thrones and
Hmm.
the Game of Thrones recaps from both, and he's still not a lot of interest. Like he prefers to be more involved in our team,
Hmm.
and he that's the thing with him. So you can see the different backgrounds from it, and also we have the show from Joe and Ashley that is BFF, like because of fan friction. It's like they're deciding there's a movie
Hmm.
because they're the what do you call it, the fact checkers.
Hmm.
If there's a movie they haven't seen, they're gonna review it. They're gonna see why that person chose that question, and then they're gonna see how their their debate was in the episode, and also they're gonna analyze that, and also to compare their opinion on the movie that they just saw after the fight. And then our last show that we have is the DVD Bunker with Brian Hurst. It's like doesn't hold up, but it's like Brian has like a you can look out on his Twitter, like when Screen Junkies Plus happened last year, and a lot of the Screen Junkies Plus shows, he always shows his DVD Bunker. Like I think he has more than 10,000 DVDs
Hmm.
in that basement. And so the basis of his show is like he's gonna scroll through all of the movies that he thinks they're now already worth it,
Hmm.
or he's gonna keep it, or he's gonna trash it, or maybe sell it. So that's the concept, and that's tough.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It's cool. So
I'm a producer on both.
okay, and you're one of the founders or
I'm a
creator.
founder from Tough,
Hmm.
and I'm a producer for No Ship channel. I gave a how do you call it, Patreon. I'm one of the
Hmm.
Patreons, so Kimber and Tom put me as a producer because I'm the one that gives more money each month.
So you've had some pretty interesting guests on Fan Friction, correct?
Yeah.
I think I've seen one with John Roca and you.
Oh, my episode with John Roca started a rivalry.
Yeah.
Like I finally met him. Oh, I think it was in LA Comic Con. That was the first time I met him.
Roca?
No,
You didn't
sorry.
meet him at Back
No,
to the
Back
Future?
to the
Yeah.
Future. Sorry. That's the other thing. When you met these people so many times, you
Yeah.
forget. It's too regular for me. Like
Yeah. You.
that's the same thing that my friend Janine said. Like, oh my god, I'm meeting the first time. I was like, oh, I already know them. This is regular for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, we was in Back to the Future screening, and you can see we have a rivalry,
Yeah.
but we're friends.
You get under his skin a little bit. I
Yeah.
think.
Because he hates that I say his name right. His name is Juan Rocha. Hmm.
He's very adamant that it's just Roca.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, you're Mexican. You have to respect your name. But he did like a lot of
Yeah.
Mexicans do here in the United States to
Yeah.
Americanize their name.
I mean, I've met Roca a few times, and I like giving him a hard time because I'm a big in the Schmodown. I'm a big Lions Den fan.
Mhm.
I just they rile everybody up. I get a big kick out of it. So I'd like to do the same with him.
Mhm.
Because as I've told him, I hate the outlaw, but I love John Roca. 'Cause
It's the same thing with me.
he's a
I
great
hate his
guy.
character, but I
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
person.
Yes, all the Collider people that I've met. Just
Mhm.
they're all really nice people. So, so is there anything else that maybe you want to share about maybe growing up and
Mm.
your experiences,
Um.
movie related or not?
Yeah. Um. Like I can say like the first movie that caught my attention.
Hmm.
It's gonna sound very cliche, but it was Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's the first movie that caught my attention because back in 1997, right now it's 2017, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
I forget which year are we. Like 20 years ago,
So you saw it in theaters in the
in the theater,
re-release?
in the re-release. Like
Okay.
me and my mother and my sister were heading out from the grocery store,
Yeah.
and then my mother saw the billboard, and because I'm still and I didn't have my growth spurt yet, so I
Mhm.
couldn't see. And so she said, "Oh my god!" Like she said, "Stay here on the make the line." And because we're leaving from the grocery store back in Mexico, like 5 blocks away, and so like I'm gonna leave the groceries and I'm gonna come back. Stay here, like make the line. I was 7 years old,
Mhm.
so in Mexico, a 7 year old is already pretty responsible, and so and then my mother came back. Was like, "Mom, what are we gonna see?" And I was, it's a surprise. And then we got in, and since the first letter was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I remember the first snippet that I did. I was like, "Oh my god, I have to read," and then I read the scroll, and then seeing the ships. But the thing that I fell in love with was Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Since I
Yeah.
was little, I always loved villains,
Hmm.
even right now. The thing that I love the most about a story in a movie, if your villain is not good, you already have less points
Yeah.
in the way that I rate movies,
Okay.
because the villain for me sometimes is the most important thing because that's the
Yeah.
causes conflict.
So I don't want to get too off tangent from the Star Wars thing,
Uh-huh.
but I mean, so Marvel movies are known for having weak villains.
Yeah,
So where do you stand on that?
there's some villains and they say they're weak that I like.
Hmm.
For me, of course, it's a cliche answer also, but Loki, he's great.
Yeah.
He's a devilish. I love Loki, especially also with Thor Ragnarok.
Hmm.
But the other villains, I even though he gets a lot of like backlash, I really like Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy. Even though we
Okay.
don't know much about him,
Yeah, it's kind of just like pouty and angry, and they
Mhm.
don't really get into it
Yeah,
all that
and
much.
I even like, even though Iron Man 2 is not very high rated for me,
Hmm.
but I like Mickey Rourke's villain, even though he's very
Okay.
simple,
Yeah.
but he just has the lasso that he wants to
Hmm.
destroy, and that's it. He doesn't need more motive. And so, yeah, I know that they're weak, but even though I have never read so many comics, but I have a friend, Alfredo from Brownsville, that he told me about everything from the Infinity Gauntlet, everything before Guardians of the Galaxy back in 2013. And so when Thanos showed up in Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Yeah," because I already knew so much.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
when I saw Age of Ultron,
Hmm.
that's the other thing that I hear from Marvel. If I can travel to Mexico, a lot of Marvel movies get early screenings in Mexico, like a week earlier than the United States.
Oh yeah.
And so my girlfriend at the time, she already watched Age of Ultron, and she told me, "You're gonna love the last scene." And I
Hmm.
was like, "Okay." And then when I signed, then when Thanos says, "Fine, I'll do it myself," I was like, "Oh my god, oh, yes, yes." And yeah, for me, like Thanos and even Hela, she was pretty interesting in Thor
Yeah.
Ragnarok. But that's true. Like, there's not. I already told you like the villains that they're memorable for me. Like a lot of people always like the Civil War villain.
Hmm.
I always forget the name of the guy. Mormo. I forgot the name. Sormo.
Civil War villain.
Yeah, the
Oh
guy that
man.
with that puppeteer everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's played by Daniel Bruhl.
I forgot the name. Sorn.
Yes, I don't.
Sormo.
I'm not
More.
sure.
Okay, that guy.
Losing street cred here.
Yeah, okay, that guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people always said, no, he was great. I was like, no, he was only a guy that stumbled all of them. Exactly like Lex Luthor did with Batman vs Superman.
Oh, but I love that moment at the end where you have Iron Man and Captain America are just fighting,
Mhm.
and then you have Black Panther. He just goes right up to him at the end, and it just has that great scene
Mhm.
with him, and it's awesome. I think Black Panther was like one of the highlights of that movie. I'm
Oh,
really excited for the solo movie that's coming
oh
out.
no, that movie's gonna be great.
Although you could see, another complaint about Marvel movies is that in every single origin story or first film for a superhero, they always play fight the evil version of themselves.
Huh? That's true.
Yeah, like you have Iron Man fighting, what was it, Warmonger,
Mhm.
Ant-Man, same thing. And now it looks like he's just fighting an evil Black Panther.
Yeah. So going back to the Star Wars thing,
Oh yeah, yeah.
when Darth Vader shows up, and I was like, oh my god, I want to know more about him.
Mhm.
And then I saw the whole thing. I still remember before Darth Vader and Obi-Wan meet again, I thought that Obi-Wan was lying.
Mhm.
The first time I saw the movie, I was like, no, he's lying. He has never met him. And then we said, I'll be waiting for you, Obi-Wan. And we meet again. I was like, no, no es cierto, no. I was like, it's fine. No, no, it can't be. They know each other. And when they fight, and the thing that I love the most about Star Wars, like how George Lucas planned the whole thing. Like one of my favorite lines in the original is when Obi-Wan says that when Luke said, "Do you find in the Clone Wars?" And then
Yeah.
he says like, "Yeah," and I have an apprentice called Darth Vader, and your father trusted him, but then Darth Vader go to the dark side, and then he killed your father, and then there was the fall of the Republic, and then also the end of the Clone Wars and the start of the Empire. That those like almost 7 8 lines, that was the basis for the prequels,
Yeah.
from only that parts of the lines, and that's the thing that I love from Star
I
Wars.
mean, yeah, the prequels were definitely on his mind for a long time. I always assumed that, in the title sequences, episode 4, 5, and 6,
Mhm.
that those weren't put in until the special editions, but I learned that I was completely wrong about that.
Mhm.
When the original was first released, it was in 77, it was Star Wars, but in
Mhm.
79, and some say maybe even earlier, there was a re-release where they put episode 4, A New Hope, as early as 1979.
Wow.
And then when Empire Strikes Back came out, it said episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. And so, yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird that he would decide to do it that way.
Interesting.
But,
I
yeah.
thought that he included the episode name until the 90s. Until I saw the re-release, I thought that's when they include the episode
Yeah,
thing.
I thought the same thing. No. The very first one I ever saw was the special edition of Empire Strikes Back. I saw Empire Strikes Back before I saw A New Hope.
Oh wow! So,
So-
you went like right ahead.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously most consider that one to be the best film in the series. So that on top of the fact of nostalgia for me, that it's the first one I ever saw, it's
Mhm.
my favorite.
Yeah, like for me, talking about my favorite Star Wars movie, even though Empire is great, like the drama, the darkness, and everything, but I always choose the original A New
Yeah.
Hope because you would have never had Empire Strikes Back if A New Hope never existed.
True. I mean, A New Hope, I've definitely learned to appreciate it a lot more over the years. But of course, all I have is the special edition, and I hate there's that one moment when they get to when they're right outside
Mhm.
the cantina, and the stormtrooper approaches
Mhm.
their little speeder
Yeah.
to say, "Oh, the droids and whatnot." And there's this giant CGI thing.
Oh my
that
God,
just
I hate that
walks
thing.
right in front of the camera and covers up the entire shot.
Yes.
And I was just wondering, why would you cover up the entire shot?
Oh no.
It's ew, I don't know. I don't get it. Drives me nuts every time I see it.
Yeah, and so when the movie ended,
Mhm.
also that summer in '97 is when I started to get more interested into learn English because my mother through many steps she put it like coloring books and those little children's books to read, and still I wasn't that interested. But when I saw Star Wars and I discovered Tony Braxton
Mhm.
talking about songs, that's when I wanted to start to know more because I want to know the meaning of a lot of stuff, especially with the songs. That's the thing that captivated me more. We got out from Star Wars, like she told me, like, did you like it? And I was like, oh my god, I loved it. I told her, and then she told me there's two more, and I was like, we need to go to the video store right now.
Oh
And
yeah.
our way, because we were on the bus,
Mhm.
she told me, like, do you have any questions about the movie? And then I was like, and this is the first time that I remember being so analytical about a movie. I told her, it's the first like religion. It's
Mhm.
like faith. Because Darth Vader believes in the dark side. It's like saying, even though I didn't say those exact words, it's like when a satanic cult believes in Satan. And talking about a
Sure.
Catholic that believes in Jesus, that's the good side,
Mhm.
and believes in the Holy Spirit. And so I told her, like, Darth Vader believes in the dark side, so he believes his faith brings him that kind of power, and Obi-Wan and Luke believe in the good side. So it's like fate. And my mother told me, like, that's a good analysis, and that's a very good question, and that's the thing that George Lucas establishes. Like,
Yeah.
and then I saw Empire. I would have loved my mom to record my reaction, like a lot of people did, like 10 years ago, like with the children. I was 7 years old, and when Darth Vader says, "I am your father,"
Yeah.
I was like, "No, no, no, no!" I paused the VHS. I was like, "Mom, he's lying," and my mother told me, "Why do you think he's lying?" Mom, he's a machine. How did he have sex? Already asking a biology question when I was 7. I was
Yeah.
like that little. I was like, how did he do it? And my mom told me, she laughed like, they're gonna answer that in the next one. Keep playing. And
I,
so I would have loved for me to record
yeah.
me 7 years old, eight
Yeah.
years old, like seeing that reaction and asking that question.
Yeah, I love there's like online reactions of people seeing that moment for the first
Mhm.
time, and it's awesome to see. And there's I've seen this one reaction of someone who saw the prequels
Mhm.
first,
Holy
and
crap.
so they were familiar with the name Darth Vader, obviously, because I mean
Mhm.
it's the like one of the biggest names in pop culture. So, but they
Mhm.
didn't know really everything about him being Luke's father and all this other stuff. So, when in the prequels, in Episode 3, when Anakin, lops off Mace Windu's hand
Mhm.
and bows down to the Emperor, and the Emperor goes like, "Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth
Darth
Vader."
Vader.
Like, there's just like this girl watching it, and she just goes nuts. She's like, "Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Like that's the same guy." Like what? And it's just so it's cool to see that kind. You can get that same kind of reaction by watching the prequels
Mm.
before the original trilogy.
Yeah, and so talking about the prequels, after I saw Return of the Jedi, I think I read in a magazine, I think, or in the paper,
Hmm.
that episode one was coming out in 1999.
Oh yeah,
And so I was like, I already have like almost 2 years of speculation in my head.
yeah.
And for me being a kid, I was imagining like episode one is gonna be like Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker, like he's already like a Jedi, and then we're gonna see the downfall of the Republic, and we're gonna
Mhm.
see all the Jedi's getting killed. Episode two is gonna be like 20 years later, like Rogue One. I imagine my episode two was gonna be an all-out war,
Mhm.
seeing Darth Vader killing a lot of people, seeing the desert destroying planets, and then I established in my prequel in my mind that in episode two we're gonna see the Darth Vader storyline, and we're gonna see Han Solo meeting Chewbacca storyline also. And that was my episode two.
Yeah.
And episode three was gonna be like a big battle and everything that lead to episode four. And so that was like my pitch in my head for the prequels. And then I saw episode one. A 10-year-old me got out and was like, this is not what I wanted.
Wow,
I still
that's
like it,
yeah.
but like this is not the prequel that I imagined.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I guess that the prequels had
Mm,
against them was people were just building up in their
mhm.
heads what they would be, and they
Because we
just
already
were
have the
and there
answers.
was just something totally different.
Because that's the thing from the prequels, because we already have the
Yeah.
answers. We already have but we wanted to see how the story developed.
Hmm.
And so I don't hate the prequels as a lot of Star Wars fans does.
I don't. So the Phantom Menace was the first one I ever saw in theaters. So I grew up with them. I don't
Mhm.
hate them. Objectively speaking, I could look at them and be like, yeah, they're not good films. Especially episode 2 is probably the worst movie.
It's the worst one.
It's the worst movie out of all of them, but there are certain moments in that movie that I love. Like you have the whole scene on Camino with Obi-Wan fighting Jango Fett. I love that scene. I think it's awesome.
The clone scene, and the arena scene,
Yeah.
and Yoda fighting.
I mean, as a little kid, like knowing I'm gonna go into the theater because you see the previews and stuff. Knowing you're going to the theater, and you see like an army of Jedi. You're just like going nuts. You're like, I can't believe this is what I'm gonna see.
No, my jaw dropped when the Yoda scene happened.
Oh yeah.
I was like, no. I was like with my father and my mother. No. I was like, oh my god.
I mean, that seems pretty divisive. Some people really love it, and then other people are like, no, he's not supposed to have a lightsaber. He's supposed to be just using the Force.
I love my mother's comment. Was like, if I was Christopher Lee, I would have already cut him in half. He's so little. Yeah. I was like. And so I was like, Mom, it's story development. Yoda makes it to the next ones. He cannot die.
And also just the world building that George Lucas did with episode 2. I mean, he just expanded the Star Wars universe in so many ways that, you know, spun off the Clone Wars TV series.
Star Wars Rebels.
And all this stuff.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of good in there for all you prequelists out there, like Ken Knapsack. There's a lot of good in there. There is. But as films, looking at them, they're not very good.
Even though I love episode 3 still. Because
I did when it first came out, but then I guess the nostalgia kind of wore off for me. I think it's some of the editing in it is really choppy, and they just jump from one thing to another, and they're in front of a blue screen, like, for the whole thing.
No, for me, sometimes, like, I think I was talking, I forgot who I was talking to. It was recently that Anakin's transformation was so quick. Yeah. And that's a little nitpick that I have the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing I don't know if it was George or Fox, but episode 3 should have been like 4 hours long. Because that was the end.
Yeah.
Because before Disney and everything, for our software fan, even myself, I was already had my cleaners prepared because that was going to be the last one. And so you have to pay so many questions, so many expectations and scenes that a lot of fans we wanted to see. Like that Darth Vader scene should have lasted like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
With him turning to the dark side, killing the children. All of that scene should have lasted like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And I know that is controversial, but sometimes if a movie is gonna dare to establish this, they should have shown it. I would have loved, and I know that a lot of people are gonna say that I'm very sadistic, but I wanted to see Anakin Skywalker kill a kid.
Yeah.
Because you can see the darkness in him.
See, I'm conflicted on that one because I'm like, he's a redeemable character, right? At the end of Return of the Jedi, kills the Emperor, saves his son, you know, saves the galaxy in quotes until obviously The Force Awakens came along and we learned that that's not quite the case. But I'm like, he's supposed to be a redeemable character. It's like, how can you take a character that's supposed to be redeemable and have him like slaughter like 20 younglings?
Yeah, but
it's like, you can't come back from that.
But that's the thing talking about religion. Because you can look out on documentaries that George Lucas based a lot of Star Wars on Catholicism and Christianism, because no matter what crimes that you did, if you ask for forgiveness, you're gonna get forgiven. And so, even though Darth Vader killed so many people and destroyed planets, even killed children, he got redeemed because he saw that his son was right. And so,
I mean, I see what you mean, because I was raised Catholic, so like with Catholicism and everything, you know, the idea is, you know, everyone is redeemable. You know, if you choose, you know, to accept the light, you're welcomed into the light with open arms, ultimately, right? So I see where you're coming from with that, definitely.
Yeah, and so like I would have loved to see more of that. I wanted to see him killing. Because that's another thing that I have with Order 66 in. Because the clones killing all of the Jedi.
Yeah.
At first, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is the thing that I wanted to see the most. I wanted to see the Jedi getting killed.
That scene's so sad.
And I like the music and everything. I was so glad. I was like, this is the thing I wanted to see. I was enjoying it.
Mhm.
And passing the years, I was like, that would have been better if Anakin was hopping through different planets, killing all of the Jedi, seeing
Yeah,
different fights.
I see
The,
what you mean. Maybe like have his turn to the dark side, and maybe the second film,
Mhm,
and then the third film was just him hunting down Jedi
mhm.
and Obi-Wan trying to stop him or whatever.
That was that would have been the better arc.
Yeah,
But George Lucas wanted to
like
get to know the
exactly.
character
Like
more.
episode one, Anakin's already his episode two Anakin
Mhm.
age, right?
Yeah,
And then you go from there.
yeah. Technically, my pitch was to eliminate episode one
Yeah.
and make
I mean,
episode two and three with different storylines, and episode three was gonna be like
so
a complete different
I mean,
film.
episode one for me, I think it's a well-made film. I like that out of the prequels, it has the most practical effects, and they're on a
Mhm.
lot of real sets.
The fight is cool.
Yeah, obviously Darth Maul and everything is awesome. Like, what do you mean, like a two-sided lightsaber? That's like crazy.
And I don't hate
For,
Jar Jar
you
that
know.
much, even though he's
Listen.
he's not acceptable.
Jar Jar, yeah, I mean, he's not good, but I mean, there's a lot of jokes that I've laughed at his expense that I wouldn't have had those moments of joy if if Jar Jar didn't exist. It's like not to go off on something else, but Batman v Superman, the whole Martha scene, right?
Oh my god! the
I
Martha
like
scene.
I liked that movie, and I will defend the Martha scene, but at the same time, I love making jokes about it.
Yeah.
You know, whenever I hear anyone anywhere say Martha, I just turn at them and just go, "Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name?" You know, you get a kick out of it. So you know, you gotta take the bad and put a positive spin on it.
Mhm.
But anyway, um, I guess back to Star Wars.
Yeah, and so when the movie ended, episode three, before it started, I was like I was already crying, and then I was like, I have waited 8 years for that because from '97 to 2005,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the end. And my parents told me we have waited 28 years. And then, even though they're not big Star Wars fans as I do,
Yeah.
like I fucking love Star Wars more than them, like so much.
What about being in the theater in like 1980 watching Empire Strikes Back, and that movie ends, and you gotta wait 3 years to find out what the hell happened? Because
Yeah.
you got all of a sudden Darth Vader is Luke's dad. You got Solo trapped in carbonite.
Yeah,
You know, they got their backs to the wall, and it's like, all right, see you in 3 years.
yeah,
Like, that was ballsy.
yeah. I know. Like for me, before the term binge happened, like
Yeah.
to see episode two, Empire Strikes Back, and then seeing, because I cried a lot when Han Solo got frozen.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my god, no, like he's dead. And then when Lando says, I was like, you bastard,
Oh,
you're a betrayer. And
So-
he's still at the end, like he
Yeah.
gets redeemed and everything. Lando was like, I still don't trust you.
Yeah. So I mean, that kind of takes me to Return of the Jedi, where a lot of people say Han Solo, like Harrison Ford wanted him killed off in
Mhm.
Return of the Jedi, and I think it would have been more logical to have Lando be the one killed off, because you have that scene with Han and Lando talking at the Millennium Falcon right before the Battle of Endor, and he's
Mhm.
like, "Hey, like, don't put a scratch on her, like,
Mhm.
not a scratch." And he's like, "Don't worry, old buddy," you know. It's like that would have been like really good foreshadowing for. He goes into the Battle of Endor. They blow up the Death Star, but he dies along with the Millennium Falcon along the way.
But George Lucas didn't do a stereotypical thing that a lot of movies does. They didn't kill the black guy.
I mean, I definitely get where you're coming from. I mean,
That
Yeah.
was made Return of the Jedi different.
okay, no, I get that. You know,
He only killed Samuel L. Jackson, and for me, I hated his character so much in the prequels. When he got killed, Mace Windu was like,
oh,
yes,
man.
yes, yes. Oh my god, I hated his ass so much.
Oh,
Especially with his, I have a purple lightsaber.
what a waste of a good actor too.
Yes.
Like, he's just like, Sam, just deliver these lines as wooden as possible. Take notes from Hayden, okay?
Oh my god.
You know, he's just like bland.
Yeah, and so when I got out from episode 3, I was crying, and I even got interviewed by a radio host. Like, what did I think of the movie? And I was like, this is a combination. I said a lot of things, and
Yeah.
I still was crying. And then my father told me, like, why are you crying? Like, they're gonna make more. And I said, no. George Lucas said this was the last
Yeah.
one. It was the end. He said they're gonna make more. 7 years later, 2012, he read the newspaper and then he sent me a text.
I
He tell me I was right.
I honestly couldn't believe it. I remember being in the theater, episode 7, Star Wars comes on, episode 7, The Force Awakens, the title crawl. I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, I can't believe I'm in a movie theater right now watching the sequel to Return of the Jedi. I never thought I would see the day.
I was crying so much.
I was like in shock. And obviously there's a lot of like a year after, there's all of a sudden all this hate for The Force Awakens that just
I hate those
comes out of
people.
the woodwork. And I just don't understand. See, I guess maybe it's the optimist in
It's
me.
not the remake.
Yeah, we could definitely get into that. But maybe it's the optimist in me. But when I was watching it, like, I'm not a dummy. Like, I noticed all the homages to A New Hope. All the similarities. I recognized it right off the bat. But to me, I wasn't like, oh, unoriginal. To me, I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like, this totally mirrors this scene in A New Hope. It's really cool how they did that. Like, I was excited about it.
Yeah, because for me, since the first time I saw it, I did notice that, but I didn't care because I wanted to see the movie. I wanted to enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean,
Because when you see a movie for the first time, you want to enjoy it and not to like overanalyze it.
yeah.
I think it depends on the movie, especially for Star Wars. And so I thought I saw those comments like I think like a month later, I think like January 2016. And I was like, why are people so focused on it?
Yeah.
And I always made the comment, I think that J.J. Abrams, even though he hasn't said it yet, I think that J.J. Abrams respected George Lucas' idea. Because George Lucas, in one of the prequels, I think it was episode 2 or 3, he said that the movies needed to rhyme.
Yeah.
That's the ring theory.
I mean, you could see that The Phantom Menace also is very similar to A New Hope in a lot of ways.
And episode 2, even though it's not exactly like Empire, but resembles a lot of things from Empire. And also episode 3, very little resembles Return of the Jedi. And that's the thing that I like from episode 3 because it's so different.
Yeah.
And so, Force Awakens, I think that JJ, because JJ loves Star Wars so much, he needed to please the prequel fans, he needed to please the original trilogy fans, he needed to please Disney, but he also said, hey, I also need to please myself a little. And also, because that's the other thing that JJ Abrams does, he wants to give a homage to the director.
Yeah.
And so he did, because with Star Trek, he gave a homage for a lot of different directors and different Star Trek series.
Yeah.
And also he did with Super 8. He loves Steven Spielberg so much, he made an almost PG-13, almost R-rated E.T. version with Super 8.
Yeah.
And so with Force Awakens, I was like, okay, I'm going to give a 10% just for me, and I'm going to give homage to what George Lucas wanted. And that's the thing that I see. Of all of those people that said that it's a remake, it's not a remake.
It's not. I mean, the Star Killer base, it might be a little much. I remember like seeing it on the poster. I'm like, is that a third Death Star? Like, come on.
And I can admit, the first time I saw it, I was like, they didn't need that third Death Star.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the argument that I would make. Like, if you're looking at all the movies, I have more of a problem with the second Death Star in Return of the Jedi. Than I do with Starkiller Base, because Starkiller Base makes a lot of sense. You have the First Order; they emerged from the ashes of the Empire, and that's they want to be the Empire, right? You have Kylo Ren; he very badly wants to be.
They want to be bigger.
He wants to be Darth Vader, right? And they want to rule the galaxy like the Empire did with an iron fist, and so they're like. So obviously, the Empire had the Death Star, so it makes sense that they would want to make a Death Star of their own, even bigger and better than what the Empire had. So that makes perfect sense. But after A New Hope for the Empire, Death Star blew up. Yeah, crank out another one. Like that I'm like, what?
And like that robot chicken bit, I was like, dude, I still haven't paid that for first Death Star.
Yeah. It's like, what do you mean they blew up the Death Star was blown up by a bunch of teenagers?
I'm like, it's gonna harm my credit.
Yeah, I love that. I love all the robot chicken bits that they do.
Yeah,
and so for me, like Return of the Jedi, I think that's a lot of people's favorite too. I think the Return of the Jedi was lazy writing. If you want to talk about, who was, just doing a derivative of another Star Wars movie. George Lucas already did it once before. But I get if you're gonna watch all the movies in a row, you watch The Force Awakens. You're like, I just saw a second Death Star when I watched Return of the Jedi, and I gotta watch the third one. So that's my one little gripe about it. But overall, I love the new characters. I think the whole thing with Finn being a stormtrooper and like turning over to the good side, I think that was really unique and awesome to see. I don't care what anyone says about Kylo Ren. Dude's a badass.
I love Kylo
The
Ren.
very first scene of the movie, he stops a bullet, like a laser bullet, with the Force in midair and holds it there and then has a conversation. That's way more badass than half the stuff we've seen Darth Vader do.
For me, and a lot of people, I have never heard someone that cry in this scene. I cry when Kylo Ren speaks to Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah?
I cried the first time I saw it, and I always cried that scene because for me, that scene is very powerful. Because that scene is very also analytical. Because you don't know what Kylo Ren he's doing. You don't know if he's playing for the dark side. You don't know if he's someone from the light that's going to the dark side, or he's on the middle.
Yeah.
So the way that he says, "I'm gonna finish what you started," tell me, grandfather, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "No!" I was like crying. Then when we see the camera, I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "No, it can't be." And then I already like finished my tears the first time I saw it, and then when I hear Obi-Wan's voice in the flashbacks,
oh yeah,
I was like, "Oh my god!"
I didn't
hearing Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor's voice.
I didn't notice that at first, and then when I found out about it, it totally blew my mind. I'm like, oh my god! Like first you get Alec Guinness's voice saying "Ray," and then you have Ewan McGregor going, "These are your first steps," and you also hear Yoda in that.
I hear Yoda to the second time.
I
saw it.
I think that's when I heard him too. And he's like, "The Force binds us and surrounds us," you know. So I love that moment, and you see the hallway from Empire Strikes Back. And I think originally, in like the original version of the script, she was supposed to like walk down that hallway and see Luke and Vader
see
fighting.
the fight. It's in the novel. I didn't read the novel, but I went to read it, and then on the novel he sees the fight. She sees the fight, and also she sees like a kid crying on the hallway.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Is that Kylo?"
Oh,
Well, that's a good question. And also, I have a theory that she's seen the past, present, and future.
Okay.
And because she saw the Empire scene, she saw Luke with R2-D2.
Yeah.
I think that Luke with R2-D2, I think that's the present in Force Awakens. And when she sees Kylo Ren killing those like soldiers,
with the Knights of Ren, you think that's in the future?
I think that's in the past.
Okay.
I think this is like maybe like 10 years before Force Awakens. Even though I just talking about Ken Napzok, I think he said in one of the novels when Kylo Ren went to the dark side was 7 years before Force Awakens. So it could be in that moment.
Okay.
I have a feeling that this maybe she's like because my first theory before this new one, I thought that Rey, because you can see her like she sees Kylo Ren so tall. I think that my theory was that Kylo Ren knew about Rey's power when she was little. Maybe Luke Skywalker raised her to be a Jedi, but then Kylo Ren said, "Hey, I want to go to the dark side." He killed all of the people that we see getting killed. Those are the learners from Luke. That's his Jedi order. And Luke blanked the memory of Rey. That's why Rey doesn't remember anything. And so I think that Luke did like a Jedi mind trick. Like she remembers like a false parents, a false memory. And so that's why also Kylo Ren says, "What girl?" Because maybe Kylo Ren wanted to train her since she was little.
Yeah, like he seemed very like there was something else going on. The way he said it, he's like, "What girl?"
And also they're not the same age.
No.
Like I have a feeling that Kylo Ren maybe he's like 32 and maybe Rey she's like 20, 21. And so since the first time I saw it, I was like, that's one of my theories. And the theory that I have when I hear Obi-Wan's voice, I was like, she's related to Obi-Wan.
That's what I thought. Also, I honestly, that's what I still think, because obviously Star Wars is a Skywalker saga, right? But I always thought, it's about the Skywalkers, but the Kenobis, even though there's only one, in a sense, they're very close family friends to the Skywalker family.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is very vital to the story.
The Skywalkers and the Kenobi name, they go hand in hand. So in this new trilogy, you have Kylo Ren representing the Skywalker part, and then it just makes perfect sense that you would have Rey be the Kenobi part. Well, I could be way off. Because they'd be like, Yoda talks to her too, so maybe she's a Yoda.
No, my other theory, the first time I saw it, And even my mother and I were like making like the whole branch of that
Yes.
theory that Rey, she's Darth Vader reincarnated.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about religion,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus got resurrected. What if? Because the other thing that I noticed from the prequels and the original trilogy, Darth Vader, he's like a different version of Jesus.
Okay.
Because in the prequels, he needed to bring balance,
Yeah.
and then he went to the dark side. A different thing about Jesus didn't do,
Yeah. But
and then he came back
mhm.
and he bring balance and he did
So-
his prophecy.
so
What if when he died, he gets a redemption?
mhm.
Said, okay, you bring balance to the Force. The Force says you have a redemption, and he gets reincarnated 30 years later into Rey. But technically, Darth Vader, he's still not awakened. When he gets awakened in the Force Awakens,
Yeah.
Rey is not gonna remember. I hope that happens in Episode 8. If that theory is correct, maybe Luke is gonna present that his father is in there.
Hmm.
I know that it's very methodical, like a very
Yeah.
analytical theory. Especially now with Disney making Star Wars like making bread, making
Yeah.
tortillas like so fast.
I mean,
I would like to make it like difficult to understand,
yeah.
make it analytical.
So I don't know how I feel about that. So for me, the way I interpret the whole prophecy thing is that is to bring balance to the Force, and I think he does that in Episode 3, where you only have two Sith and like hundreds of Jedi,
Yeah.
right? That's imbalance. So what does he do? He kills all the Jedi, and you're ultimately, other than like a few stragglers like Kanan, Ezra, whatever.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you're left with two Sith and two Jedi at the end of Episode 3. For the most part, you have Obi-Wan and Yoda, and that put the Force into balance. And I think that's when the prophecy was fulfilled. And I think killing the Emperor at the end of Episode 6 put it back into imbalance.
Yeah.
Because now there's no more Sith, and you have Luke,
Mhm.
and then he tries to make this whole Jedi Order, and now you have all these Jedi now. Hypothetically, I don't know.
And
We'll learn
technically,
more.
Kylo Ren repeat the story of Darth
Yeah.
Vader
Yes.
killing the Jedi.
Exactly. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. So talking about new theories that I have recently, I was talking with Troy about this. What if Rey, she's not related to anybody,
mhm.
and she joins Kylo Ren, but she doesn't know that Kylo Ren is playing for both sides. Because that's a theory that I have since I got from Force Awakens. What if Kylo Ren is playing for both sides?
Yeah.
And so she doesn't know that Kylo Ren he's playing for both sides, and then Rey goes dark. And I just imagine like this in 3 days ago. Sorry, what if Snoke is gonna puppeteer Luke and Rey to fight each other, and then Rey kills Luke, and that will be like the cliffhanger?
I would die just right there in the theater. I don't know if I could handle that.
Because I want my darkness in my Star Wars.
See, I don't see either one of them, Luke or Rey, turning to the dark side. I just don't see it. Like, Luke is like the ultimate good guy. Like, you think of a protagonist in a film, one of the very first people you're gonna think about is Luke Skywalker. And Rey just seems so innocent too. But I guess that would make it more tragic if she did fall to the dark side.
Or if my theory is correct, like you see like Luke Skywalker are like
Ugh.
defenseless, and then he says, "Finally, my son, I got my turn to kill you, father." And then he
No,
kills.
'cause
Yes.
that's crazy. No, because Anakin's good at the end of Return of the Jedi. He shows up as Hayden
And maybe
Christensen,
this
Force
is-
Ghost.
maybe
He's
this is-
hugging it out with Obi-Wan and
Maybe
Yoda.
the reincarnated version was Dark
Yes.
Anakin. Oh, twist!
Oh, that'd be weird. I don't know. But I would love to see a Force Ghost Anakin and like the next movie. Like if Aiden Christensen shows up in Episode 8 or
Oh,
9,
he's gonna.
I'll go nuts in the theater.
And so yeah, that's like those are like my theories.
So
And also, I think that maybe Finn is gonna die,
I could see that. Yeah, I like Finn a lot,
especially with
but-
the new trailer that he's fighting Phasma. Like
I mean, I don't
a
know.
lot of people criticize Phasma, even me, that she didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
So for Episode 8, for her to kill a main character, that would be interesting.
I would see him probably dying in Episode 9, though.
Mm.
I'd like to see more of his character, I think. But going back to The Force Awakens, I want to talk about that. There's another argument that people make about Rey being a Mary Sue and being overpowered. And to that, I say, okay, the movie answers your question. It's called The Force Awakens.
Mhm.
Rey's so powerful, the Force awoke in her. So I mean, we know you've seen 7 movies, 8 movies now. You count Rogue One. It's bashed into your head time and time again that the Force. We're gonna get really sweaty into this. The Force has a will of its own. Okay.
Mhm.
You know, that's one thing that Qui-Gon was big on, you know, the will of the Force. Like, the Jedi failed because they went against the will of the Force. They tried to influence their will upon the Force, and that put the Force into
How
imbalance.
Anakin learned so quickly to be on the Battle of Naboo in that spaceship.
Yeah.
He only knew about pod racing.
Yeah. So, I mean, you see, so pretty much the Force was like, okay, the Force is in imbalance right now. Kylo Ren's on the dark side spreading. Luke's off God knows where. The Force, the light side needs to come back. So the Force uses Rey, in my opinion, uses Rey as a conduit to bring that balance back. So you see, obviously you see that's the awesome scene at the end where Kylo Ren's going. I lost my mind at the end. When Kylo Ren's like going to get the lightsaber, and then it flies into Rey's hand, and you get the Force theme that plays, and it's awesome.
I was crying.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, like you don't have to be trained in the Force in order to use the Force. You know what I'm saying?
Talking about that moment, a little quick comment. Me and my sister were like, when Rey catches the lightsaber, we were crying, but at the same time we were like, that bitch, like she stole our bae. Because we fell in love with Kylo Ren since the first time we watched it. I was like,
yeah,
that's Kylo lightsaber, you bitch.
And also, so you have to take into consideration that sometimes the Force has a will of its own. And if it wants a particular Force user to be super powerful, then that's what's going to happen. You don't need training to do that. And on top of that, Kylo Ren was severely injured. We all know this. He got shot with Chewie's crossbow in the gut. The dude should have been dead. Okay, so all those factors considered, it's easy to see that she would win that fight. And also the lightsaber calling to her and all that also kind of ties back into my Kenobi theory, where Obi-Wan Kenobi was the owner of that lightsaber for like
20 years.
Yeah, like 19 years. Okay, so if anything, that lightsaber belongs to the Skywalker clan just as much as it does to the Kenobi clan.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways. So that's another reason why that lightsaber could have been calling to her.
Yeah, and also like the theory says that Obi-Wan Kenobi had a son. Had a daughter, and that's the girl from Star Wars Rebels, the one that she's like Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And then she got knocked up by Ezra, and then that's Rey.
So you think that Rey is could be Ezra's daughter?
Ezra's daughter / Obi-Wan's granddaughter.
That could work if
that also explains the Force, like how it's so powerful.
Yeah, that could work if they explain it properly, because in the movie you gotta do it in a way where you don't really mention the importance of Ezra, because you can't tie it into the shows too much, because a lot of people that don't watch the shows,
they're not gonna get it.
Yeah, they're gonna be lost. So that's a bit tricky, but they can make it work.
On just not explaining, I was like, I'm ready to Obi-Wan, that's it. Let's move on.
Yeah. That's what they would have to do ultimately. Oh yeah, yeah, we're outside and a police car just drove by. So.
Yeah, they're coming for me.
So yeah, I'm really excited for The Last Jedi.
It looks
amazing. It looks so good.
That's like my story with Star Wars. Like, talking about another question, like a lot of people always doubt, like the first movie that I remember seeing in the movie theater was Jurassic Park back in 1993.
I love Jurassic Park, and I will defend all of its sequels. By the way, I
love the sequels.
I love every bit of it.
I don't know why many people hate The Lost World.
Oh, I love it.
The Lost World is so much greater than Jurassic Park 3, even though I love Jurassic Park 3.
Objectively, I could admit Jurassic Park 3, not the strongest film.
Yeah.
But for me,
but it's so much fun.
Nostalgia value, going back to that, and also yeah, and just Alan Grant is my favorite character in Jurassic Park.
Yes.
So it has that going for it, and it's a movie where dinosaurs kill people for
Yes.
an hour and a half. Like,
Mhm.
how could you not love that?
And like for me, like talking about another thing that a lot of people criticize from Jurassic
Oh,
Park, the
Spinosaurus
second,
is also awesome.
yes,
Whatever. I don't care what anyone says.
from Jurassic World, I love the assistant death scene.
Oh yeah.
I fucking love that scene because I wanted to see the dinosaurs killing a lot of people. I was like, why this movie wasn't R-rated? I wanted to see the dinosaurs killing children, killing fathers. I wanted to see kill a grandmother. I wanted to see so many deaths.
I really liked Jurassic World. I did, and like, I loved the new theme that Michael Giacchino did for it. The bah, 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 bah,
Yeah.
I loved all that too. He's my favorite composer, by the way. Just to go. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get kicked out of Starbucks. So yeah, and the ending with the fight scene with the T-Rex and the Indominus Rex is awesome. I love the whole aspect of the training the Velociraptors. That was so cool.
Yeah, but the thing that I hate from Jurassic World is the stupid, like, we're gonna militarize the Velociraptors.
Yeah,
I hate that.
I see. That's why I'm really worried about the sequel.
Yeah.
Because if the sequel is that, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. Like, I know, like, I don't want them to just keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Mhm.
But I mean, I don't know how they're gonna make it work if it's not dinosaurs on an island eating people.
I would love if they try something that I got hang on Jurassic Park 3. Remember when the Sam Neill and the kid, they're already on the helicopter, and the pterodactyls, like, they're flying all natural. So what if they touch that, even though, like, they said that the lost were in Jurassic Park 3, they're not canon in the Jurassic
they're
World.
totally canon. They are.
But let's say they touched a lot of the dinosaurs from Isla Nublar in Jurassic World escape.
Mhm.
And the sequel could be Chris Pratt and his team hunt them down around the world.
Yeah.
That could be the sequel.
So
And not touch the militarized storyline.
yeah, no, definitely. For me, like, for the fifth one, I wanted them to, like, just go full blown Fast and Furious with it and just go nuts with it and call it Jurassic 5. And it's just like Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard's characters are like, oh, these dinosaurs are out of control. We got to assemble a team of the top people to get them.
Oh my
And so they recruit, like, Sam Neill,
Yes.
Jeff Goldblum. They recruit Vince Vaughn from the second one.
Hate that Vince Vaughn. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Especially now with his new look,
Yeah.
that he has, like, no hair and, like, he looks so violent.
Bring back Julianne Moore. Just like a dream team of
Yes.
like Jurassic Park characters. Just like hunting down dinosaurs.
You need the
together.
kid from Jurassic Park 3. He survived
Oh yeah.
for 2 months, so we need him also.
Bring them all back.
He could be Joseph Gordon-Levitt talking about casting.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
And so,
So that's my idea. Just go nuts with it.
yeah, and then we need to go bananas. And so, yeah, I remember seeing that movie, and my mother was pregnant with my sister, and I remember the T-Rex scene. I was covering. This is so cute. I was covering my mother's stomach, her belly, like for my sister to not look.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's not gonna look. I was like, because she's under her skin, and so. But still, I was like, I didn't want my sister to see that. And talking about how I like violence since I was little, I remember, like, seeing Jurassic Park, and I was 4 years old. I was like, I would have killed one of the children.
Oh,
I don't know
God.
why I want. I don't
bring
know.
them back too. Just
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, I was like, I would have killed at least the kid. Like, he survived the stupid electricity fence.
Oh my
He
God.
should have died. And the thing
Yeah.
that I hate the most, like, talking about how you nitpick, the thing that I noticed, like, I think I just saw Jurassic Park again like a year ago. I hate that none of the kids help Alan Grant and I forgot the name of the girl to hold the door.
Yeah.
They're completely
yeah, they're
alone,
just on the
and like
computer.
the kids were like, oh no, and then like the kid like trying to decipher the computer was
Yeah.
like, kid, try to help Alan Grant, please. I was like, you don't need to be doing nothing.
Yeah.
So that's why I
So,
needed to kill him.
yeah.
And so yeah, what is the first movie that you remember seeing in a theater?
Oh man, first movie in a theater. It would. Oh man, I don't know. Like it's like our timetable gets a little wishy washy. So like obviously I have an early memory of watching The Phantom Menace, the very first Inspector Gadget movie with Matthew Broderick. I remember that.
This
I
is,
don't know what year that was
I
though.
think it's like '98. I think the
Yeah.
Spectre Gadget movie.
What else? I remember like seeing The Iron Giant in theaters.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yes.
I think that's like '98 also. 99.
Okay. So those would probably be my earliest memories of being in a movie theater. I remember watching like how the Grinch Stole Christmas, the one with Jim Carrey.
I love that one.
I
That's
do.
2000.
I do love that. I just love the world Ron Howard created with all that, and it's like it's kind of weird at the same time.
Also, is that movie is one of those movies that I can love in English and Spanish.
Yeah.
Like the dubbing is so good in both of
Although
it.
the Grinch like kind of freaked me out a little bit as a kid.
Oh no, like talking about movies, like what is like the question that you made me also? What is the movie that it says, "Oh my God, I love film"? What is that movie that you notice it?
Oh man, I mean, obviously the cliche of Star Wars.
Mhm.
I mean, Empire Strikes Back. Most of my childhood, I just was watching the same movies over and over again. All the Star Wars films, the Jurassic Park films, all the Batman films. To me, Michael Keaton is the definitive Batman.
Me too.
I don't care what anyone says. Uh, you know,
Because a lot of people say, "Oh my God, Ben Affleck is the best one." I was like, "We only have seen him in one
he's
movie."
awesome, but it's been really 1.5 movies
Yeah.
so far. To me, like I mean, Michael Keaton. I wanted to kind of get into this on my blog, lordsofthefilms.com. By the way, that's my plug.
Plug.
I wanted to do a whole article about this and defend Batman Returns because that was it's kind of like a Christmas movie.
I
So
don't know why many people hate Batman
I figured
Returns.
with,
I
like the
love it.
holidays coming up, it'd be a good piece to do. But yeah, I mean, so that was always my favorite growing up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like big into like horror movies and like weird type stuff. So that's like the darkest Batman movie. Really, it just gets so dark and weird, and I just love it for that. But the you want to talk about what defines Batman, and they kind of touch on it in the Nolan films about how he's Batman down to his core, and Bruce Wayne is the mask, not the other way around, like with most superheroes.
Mhm.
And for me, the very first scene in that movie, where you just see Bruce Wayne sitting in his house in a chair in the dark, doing nothing. He's just waiting for the bat signal to light up because that is his only purpose in life.
Yeah.
And to me, like that is Batman. It's like he's just sitting there waiting, and the bat signal lights up and like reflects and like shines into his living room, and the awesome Danny Elfman score plays like da 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 da, which is a total ripoff from the original Wolfman movie. There's actually a little bit in there, not to get into that, but if I were to ever talk to Danny Elfman, I would confront him about that. Be like, I love the Batman score, but you ripped off the Wolfman, didn't you, with Lon Chaney Jr.? I know you did. But anyway, yeah, and that's that whole scene. The bat signal shines on his face, and he goes to work. Now he has a purpose again. He puts on the suit, and that whole opening scene I just love. So for me, and then obviously later on, the Lord of the Rings films. Return of the King is my favorite movie of all time.
Damn.
I think it's a freaking masterpiece. So that's like the bar for me. Like that's a 10 out of 10, and like any other movie that's amazing can only go as high as a 9 because you can't hit another 10 for me because that's Return of the King. I remember seeing that in the theaters. I saw that at the midnight screening because obviously I was already obsessed after the first 2 movies, and I made my grandfather take me and my brother to go see Return of the King at midnight.
Oh, my family hates the Lord of the Rings
my
so
God.
much. I made them watch the Two Towers and Return of the King.
That's just for me, like that's like the pinnacle of all theater experiences because I went in expecting this to be the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life, and 99 times out of 100 you're going to be disappointed when you do that. But for me, I went in there and it delivered. It
Mhm.
totally delivered. The movie ended and I was like, that was everything I wanted it to be.
Yep.
Like, oh, like the whole battle of the Pelennor Fields is just, oh my god. And people like Roca, okay, complain about like the 20 endings at the end. But you know what? For me, especially as a little kid in the movie theater who loves Lord of the Rings and knows this is the last film,
Mhm.
for me, like, I didn't want that movie to end. So every time it looked like it was going to end and then it kept going, I just did like a little fist pump to myself. I'm like, yes, it's not over yet. I get more. Like, so, like, again, maybe that's just the optimist in me.
I like the endings, but a part of me, I still remember the first time I saw it in the theater, I was like, I really need to pee. I was like, but
Oh my god,
Yeah.
yes, I held it in. I had to.
yeah, I held
I
it in
couldn't
like,
miss a second of that movie. No way.
yeah, like for me, talking about the best movie for me of all time
Hmm.
is The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, I love The Wizard of Oz.
For me, that's a movie that is perfect for me
Yeah.
because it's a movie that has made me cry,
Yeah.
has made me cheer, has made me sing, has made me all of the emotions.
Yeah.
And especially it's a movie that I always brings me a smile. When I always
Yeah.
get down and everything, I put on that movie.
For me, like, I do when there's a musical that's done right like that. I love a good musical. Like I freaking love La La Land, but not to get into that.
La La Land!
Yes. Uh, but you know, like for me, that Wizard of Oz and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory are two movies. They're musicals, and they just do this perfect job to me of just taking you into a different world.
Mhm.
You just get encompassed by these films, and you're like just not like in the real world for those
Yeah.
like 2 hours or however long it is.
Mhm.
And it just really just it's a perfect movie going experience
Yeah, and for me,
where you
talking
just
of,
transcend to this higher place while you're watching it.
yeah, because it's one of those movies like The Wizard of Oz, Star Wars, Jurassic Park. It's one of those movies when you see it,
Mhm.
there's nothing more around you.
Yeah,
You're immersed in that story. You're already in that world. You're already positioned. It. That's the thing that I love from The Wizard of Oz. Like
Yeah.
when the movie ends, I was like, I'm so happy. Like
Mm-hmm.
you went through all this road of emotions, and then seeing that world again. And that's a movie also you can see 100 times, and I still will get the same emotions, and I will see a new layer that I didn't see.
Yeah.
Like talking about trivia, I noticed like they said that one munchkin like what in the background he's hanging there. So I was like, I need to search for it. I was like, I think that could be a munchkin, but I also think that's a flamingo.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might have tried to look for that once before, but I don't know if there's any really real merit to that.
It's after the orchard
myth,
scene,
no.
after the apple scene.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. The thing also you might be talking about trivia. How Victor Fleming directed and produced The Wizard of Oz at the same time as The Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
Gone with the Wind is a damn almost 4 hour movie, and also to be one of the first movies in color, because Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind were the first ones, and to produce, especially Gone with the Wind, with so many extras, so many different backgrounds, and so many production design. But also The Wizard of Oz, even though it doesn't have that amount of extras, but all the details in Emerald City, the details in the makeup, I was like,
Yeah.
how did he do it?
Yeah.
Especially in the 30s, in 1938, in 1939. That's admirable.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like, talking about the favorite ones, like, it's always The Wizard of Oz, Regional Star Wars, Scream, Grease. I love Grease so much. I hear the soundtrack
See,
almost every week.
I just said I liked musicals. I'm not a huge fan of Grease. It just doesn't strike a chord with me.
Okay, let me leave right now.
Oh,
I love
don't know
Grease
about
so
it.
much.
I don't know about that one.
I know I saw you and I see the light. We gotta on the thing. We gotta be alright. Like, oh, I love Grease so much. Hopelessly
Maybe I'll give it
devoted
another chance.
to you. Oh, Sandy, baby, someday, yeah. Oh my God, those trouble screams! I love Grease so much. Even like the songs that other people sing, like "Beauty School Dropout,"
Mhm.
"Beauty School Dropout." Like I love. Oh my God, Sandy D. They that get far from me. I love Grease so much. Like I know that all of those songs by heart. I know
Mhm.
all of the scenes. Like those are like my favorite movies. Like Scream, I can watch it almost like a
Scream.
100
It's
times.
another movie where
I
I will defend all its sequels as well.
Oh, especially like a lot of people hate four. Four is
Four,
after the original. I love
yeah,
four so
four.
much.
Like, there's a lot of really good stuff, and the whole thing with the because like he was able to put remakes into it because
Yeah.
we were at a time in horror where a lot of remakes were happening, and he had that's why he did the fourth one. He had something else to
Mhm.
say. I think all the films have something really creative to say about the horror genre. I think Wes Craven was just a horror genius with what he
Yes.
did with that, and Nightmare on Elm Street, and The Hills Have Eyes, and everything that he did.
And for me, I still remember the first time I saw Scream was also back in
Yeah.
'97. My mother, she didn't knew like what the thing we were renting.
Mhm.
And so I grabbed the VHS and then we were seeing it. And she told me because she didn't saw the whole thing. Like she went like in the middle. I was like, why are you laughing? I was
Mhm.
like, you seen this? But I was like, Mom, this is a comedy. They're mocking horror movies. And also
Yeah.
that was like my first year like getting into horror.
And it does it in just like a subtle enough way
Mhm.
too, where I think it really works. Because like it works on its own as like commentary on the
Mhm.
horror genre, but it also works as a horror film all on its own.
Mm.
And I think it's great. I love the second one. Um, third one is probably the least favorite out
Yeah,
of
it's the
all of
weakest
them.
one.
It is, but still fun to watch. And like you said, like the fourth one, I think is great. I mean, like I don't know if it's been out for a while. It's good. The whole ending where she's like, the thing about remakes, you never fuck with the original.
Oh
Like
my
that's
God, I
great.
love that
Like,
scene.
I love like that's one thing I love horror movies like the strong female characters
Yes.
that are in horror films. Like what's Nev Campbell's character,
Sydney Campbell.
yeah, she just
Sydney Prescott.
Yeah. Nev
Sydney
Campbell.
Campbell, that scary movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, like she just kicks ass in those movies. And
Yeah,
it's
like
awesome.
talking about Scream, I still remember I was making theories before Scream 4 came out. I remember seeing the trailer since years before. I was like, the thing that I like the most, like how Wes Craven like makes a lot of like red herrings and a lot of things that you
Yeah.
can notice. Before Scream 4 came out, I wanted Courtney Cox to be the killer
Yeah.
because that will explain so many stuff because you establish that she's obsessed with the story of Ghostface. And so
Yeah.
when the movie starts, like she
I
doesn't
mean,
have anything more to write. The
yeah.
perfect twist would have been, even though I love the Emma Roberts twist,
Yeah.
but that would be like a crazy twist.
Which,
Like she wrote the story that she wanted to tell.
yeah. And that whole thing kind of like bothers me too because, like, her boyfriend, played by like Rory Culkin, like
Yeah.
his whole like motivation like drives me nuts because like there's like towards the end of that movie, like Hayden Panettiere in that film is absolutely stunningly like gorgeous. I think she's
I
like,
fucking love her since Heroes.
oh my god, I think she's absolutely like
Yes.
stunning in that movie in Scream 4, like with the short hair and
Yeah.
everything. Just her swagger and the way she carries herself, like, and it's like Rory Culkin's character like has a chance to be with her.
Mhm.
I'm like, and then he ends up, killing her. Like,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, obviously, but I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Yes.
ah,
I was
like,
the same thing. I
I'm
was like,
why? So you can go be with your psycho Emma Roberts girlfriend who just likes to kill everybody with you? I'm like, oh,
and that's true. Like
Doesn't make any
Hayden
sense.
Panettiere is more harder than Emma Roberts.
yeah. And just character-wise too, she's not a psycho. Like, I guess Rory
Mhm.
Culkin's also a psycho in
And
that
the
movie.
thing
So
that I also love from Scream 4 is the beginning.
Yeah.
The meta upon meta. That's the thing that I love the most. I love the first scene with Arya from Pretty Little Liars. Even though I haven't seen Pretty Little Liars back then, when I
Yeah.
saw Scream 4 in 2011, when I saw it recently, I was like, I would have loved to see her die in the show because I hate her character so much.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I made that scene canon for Pretty Little Liars when she like gets
Yeah.
her throat slit, but and then like you see the girl from True Blood, the Kristen Bell, like
Hmm.
if that is not a surprise for you, and like shut the fuck up and let's watch the movie. And like I like the other girl, the final scene. I just see it with my friend. I was like, this is a scene that you would have written because I
Yeah.
love twists. I was like, because when she says, "Hey, hang on," so step 7 is the beginning of step 4. So what is step 5 and 6 gonna be about? And the other girl said, you're confusing it. I was like, you cannot get in the story like that. I was like, that's you. Use to like try to explain everything, like to
Yeah.
make the whole thing. I was like, yes, that will be me. And I'm interested. I would have loved to see when she says like, oh, step 5, they travel back in time. I would have loved to see a back in time step 5 meta coming.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy.
You know, I even enjoyed watching the Scream TV show. It was so bad,
Not
but
that bad.
like
It was good.
I couldn't look away. I'm like this. I have to know what happens next. I have to keep watching it, and I know what I'm watching. It's not good television, but I'm just getting hooked, like sucked into it. It's just like a huge guilty pleasure for me.
I have seen worse TV shows for
And now
me.
now they're gonna like I reboot it. I guess we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, like for me, the first season, the thing that I love the most, talking about spoilers, that the reporter that she was resembling Korniko's character,
Yeah.
she was the evil one. I was like,
Mhm.
this is redemption for all the Scream fans that we wanted her to be the bad guy. I was like,
I guess
okay,
so.
Scream season 1, you have my approval.
Yeah.
Season 2 for me was a little weak
Yeah.
compared to season 1.
And then they did that like Halloween.
I haven't seen the
special.
Halloween
You
special.
haven't? Okay.
Was it good?
It's on Netflix. I think they consider it part of season 2.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it goes in line with the rest of the show, but it's just like stupid because it's like, oh, another killer for like one episode or whatever.
Yeah, but the thing that I like from the
It was nothing original, that's for sure. I mean, the whole show really isn't anything original.
yeah, but the thing that I like from the Screen show is they didn't like PG-13 the show a lot
Mhm.
because the deaths are good.
Yeah. That
Especially
poor, was it Noah? That poor Noah character.
Yeah.
He keeps getting girlfriends and they keep getting killed off. And it's like, you poor guy.
yeah.
Oh my god.
I was like, if they kill that guy,
Worse.
I'm out because
Yeah.
I love
like
his character
that.
since
I like
episode 1
I like this character a lot.
because
He's like the Randy character.
he's Randy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when I also
He
I
like
got,
represents all of us because we're all just
No.
nerds watching this thing.
like when Randy got killed in Scream 2,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh my god, I was so heartbroken when I saw it.
Oh yeah.
And I remember seeing Scream 3 in the theater
And then he
because
comes back in the
my
video.
mother sneaked me in,
Oh,
like
nice.
to see it. Because also in Mexico, there's not a lot of security
Yeah.
to go to see a movie. So she paid the guy. Was like, because she told like I don't want to see this movie, but I want him to see it. And
Yeah.
like the guy snuck me into the theater, and I saw the movie alone, Scream 3, because I love Scream so much.
Yeah.
And wow, like seeing Randy again, I was like, oh. And yeah, like those are like my favorite movies. Like
Hmm.
what, like you said already, like Jurassic Park and Star Wars. Like what's the other movie that you said like, oh my god, this movie is like my favorite all time. I can see it like 100 times. And
I mean, definitely Star Wars and Lord of the Rings are like the top two. I mean, I even like I really liked watching the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies growing up.
yeah, I
too.
love them also.
Um,
The third one is not canon.
Oh, the third. I pretend the third one doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's so bad. It's so bad. It's oh god.
No, really bad.
Why? Why'd they even make that movie? Is beyond me. Oh,
The
it
first
doesn't
mistake
exist.
that they made,
It
they
doesn't
made
exist.
to Rachel Weisz to not come back.
Yeah.
That was the first sin.
Oh yeah, I was already checked out
Yeah.
after that. And then it's
The Yetis,
the Yetis. What?
the stupid son.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Why did they
Yeah.
bring back the kid from the second
Yeah.
one?
I mean, the second one is kind of dumb. It's the second one I think is a really fun movie if you're just like clicking through the channels and you stumble upon it on TV. It's a fun way to spend a couple hours at home if you have just the TV on in the background. And the first one I actually think is really enjoyable. I like how I like how dark it is. Like it's a goofy action movie, but at the same time, there's some scary stuff in it with like the raining blood or whatever, and it would attempt like sucking out people's eyeballs and tongues. It's like it's freaky. So yeah, I like those growing up too.
It's a pretty fun movie.
Yeah, the new one with Tom Cruise.
Oh my god! I didn't.
I enjoyed myself because
For me, it was okay.
I like all that stuff. But as a film, you look at the narrative.
Oh no, it doesn't make sense.
Totally ripping off American Werewolf in London, like Jake Johnson's character.
That bothered me a lot.
Yeah, it's like they weren't even like being jokey about it. It's like, no, we're just ripping it off. It's fine.
No, the thing that I hated the most from the new one also, the motive of the girl. She doesn't have any motive. Like she only killed a baby and her father. And that was it.
Yeah, she's just like, I want to be evil. I'm gonna kill my whole family.
At least Timothy was screwing the pharaoh's
like
prostitute.
Love,
so
that makes sense.
That's a good motive.
Yeah.
But she I just want to kill a baby, and so
she's
that's
just like, I just want to be queen of Egypt. So, oh god, my family don't like them anymore. They're dead.
And then back to the present, like for her to possess Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And the thing that I hated the most was the girl. The blonde girl. Oh my god, she was the worst character ever.
So,
like it makes Suicide Squad look good. Like how bad her character is.
I really liked the movie visually though. I liked that whole scene where they like harpoon her and like bring her back to
I even like Russell Crowe.
No,
I like Russell Crowe as I forgot the name. Oh my god, I just forgot the name of the monster. He's the Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, I liked all that stuff. I thought that was really cool. It might be a little too early for the whole universe building thing, but I liked it all. I liked, when you saw like the vampire skull and like the creature from the Black Lagoon hand. I thought that was all really neat.
But that's, even though I can admit it, like that was a mistake. Like to announce the universe and everything, they should have waited.
It was a mistake. Yeah.
They should have made it like a reveal, like the first Iron Man did with the Avengers.
They've got to know what they have. They should make these movies for a lot smaller of a budget and just make them horror films and release them in like October, maybe even January or February. And
they can learn from Blumhouse.
You don't have to make $500 million on it. Just be profitable. Make a movie for like 50 mil, bring home like 200 mil, and there you go. You brought home a little bit of money, and you'll satisfy the type of audience that you're trying to satisfy with your classic Universal horror monster fans, and the whole summer blockbuster thing. It's too much.
Yeah, because that's the thing that we learn so much is the Blumhouse model.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of Blumhouse.
Yeah,
I think they do such a great job with everything.
Oh, this is a nice question. What is your most recent movie experience that you hated the movie so much that you wanted to leave?
Okay, so there was like a span of like 2 weeks where I was going to the movies almost every day. So I was just like looking for anything. And there was this one movie, it didn't have a wide release. It was called Happy Hunting, I believe.
Okay.
It was not even rated.
Oh wow.
It didn't have a rating. It just said like NR,
Okay.
And it looked like it was something that belonged on the Chiller Network or something like that. It was so disappointing. It was it takes place in this small town in Texas where this entire community every year like rounds up like a handful of people and hunts them, and just for sport, like as a hunting. They're like a hunting town, so they gotta hunt. That's like their thing. So they hunt people for sport, and you follow this one character that ends up being hunted by them. And it was just, for me, it was so disappointing. I walked out of the theater, I was like, that was not good. That should have been like a made-for-TV type thing. So yeah, like I would say 99.99% of the people that listen to this will have no idea that movie even exists. But I saw it, and it was bad.
No, for me, even though I'm gonna go like a cliche answer, But that Ghostbusters remake was the worst
Oh,
piece of shit that I have seen in
and
my
I
life.
wanted it to be good so bad
And I
because
have faith also
because
when
so many people were ripping on it for
Yeah.
like being all women, and I'm like, no, guys, like, come on, like,
Yeah.
give it a chance. Like the whole women thing could be really cool.
Yeah.
And it was just not a good movie.
No, for me, before
Paul-
seeing it,
Paul Feig
I was
did
like,
not,
I know the trailer
disappointed me.
looked bad, but I was like, I'm gonna have faith. Like,
The whole thing.
it's a Paul Feig movie. I love Spy. I love
Yeah.
the Heat and Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
I'm like, has to be good. And then I remember when I saw the movie,
Hmm.
I still remember hearing the comments like before it. I was like, oh my god, they're all women. I was like, oh, blah blah blah. I was like, okay. By the middle of it, I was like, I cannot do it anymore. But, like, this movie's not funny.
I
I
was
was like,
disappointed.
like the movie was so not
It
funny.
wasn't.
The story didn't make any sense.
jokes
The
were lame.
villain, the
Oh,
villain. What was his motive?
I don't know.
Who was
He
he?
wanted to like rule the world as a ghost, I guess.
That was
I
so
don't know.
stupid.
Chris Hemsworth like dancing at the end was.
Oh my god! I still remember like a lot of people. Like I remember on Twitter was like, "Oh my god, Chris Hemsworth was the most funniest character." I was like, "Were you on drugs?" He was the most stupidest, unfunny character in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And another comment talking about comments, like that's the thing that I have on social media that I discovered talking about movies. That's when I discovered since Batman vs Superman when I discovered the Rotten Tomatoes thing, and then when Ghostbusters happened, 2016 was a bomb for
it's
me.
like certified fresh, I think,
And,
right?
no, yeah, and when I was seeing the movie, after I saw the movie, I remember a lot of people saying in Twitter, "Oh my god, Kate McKinnon was the most funniest character." Was like, "Were you on drugs?" She was like, "Hey, I'm a random lesbian and I'm gonna do this."
I kind of liked her, to be honest. I don't know, because she was like the engineer of the group,
No.
and I'm an engineer, so I'm like,
And
all right, that's cool.
I'm gonna say the stupidest joke in the whole movie. When I'm on the subway and you see the logo, and she says to the camera, "You see, that's our logo. We're gonna use it." And I was like, that's when I noticed that the movie was so bad.
Yeah.
That was the moment I was like, "Oh my god!" And then
I think they made a big mistake by making it a remake. I think they should have
make it a sequel.
kept it in the continuity
Mhm.
of the original films. That's what I think.
Yeah, and the other scene that for me, I wish. Have you seen the Final Destination 4 when they're trapped in a movie theater and the movie theater explodes?
No, I haven't.
Okay. When Chris Howard starts dancing with all the people like he's controlling dancing, I wish that the movie theater already exploded. Because for me, I have never walked out from a movie theater because I was like, I paid for this, I'm gonna finish it.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, I was like, I don't have the balls to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have the balls like to walk out,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to the movie theater to explode because the movie was so bad. My sister, like, she went to the restroom like 3 times. Like, she hated the movie so much. Like, when in that moment, I was like, she said, like, I want it to be over. Like, she couldn't take it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And when that movie finished, I asked her the question that a lot of people ask. Because I was like, they're gonna make me the comment like because I'm a guy, and maybe I didn't see it as a woman.
Yeah.
And I asked her, well, I was like, you're my sister, you're a woman. What do you think? I was like, I hated the fucking movie so much.
It's not a good movie. I mean, men, women doesn't matter. It was just poorly written, I think.
Yeah, and like I still remember, I was with my ex girlfriend. I visited her in Mexico, and we were seeing like all of the posters for the movies, and I still remember when she showed some movie, and I'm like, and she said, "I'm not gonna choose the Ghostbusters remake," and she didn't know that I hated it so much, and she told me like, "I'm not interested at all," and I was like, "Oh my god, I love you so much right now." I was like, I was so glad. I was like, and I even told her like, if you were gonna choose, I was like, I just need a drink or two. I can sacrifice my time. I can see it again, but I need alcohol to see it again.
Yeah.
And after like I remember like months later, like she stumbled on the movie on cable with a friend. They both changed the channel in the first 15 minutes of how they hated the movie so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, thank God that you didn't finish it.
Yeah.
And so that's a movie that I remember that I read in a review on Facebook. I was like, the problem is not the actresses, the problem is the script and the
Yeah,
directing.
definitely.
And like in a lot of, and that's the thing, a lot of people like, no, you're saying because there's this. I was like, can you read that I didn't like the script? It's not
Yeah.
them.
Hmm.
And that's the thing that I hated the most about how social media and like talking about the honest trailer, like people even invoke Trump in it. I was like, oh my god! I was like, this is getting too much.
Yeah.
And other movie that I recently hated also was Don't Breathe.
Really?
I hated that movie
I
so much.
I liked it, but for me, it was honestly my most anticipated movie of the year, just because I love the Evil Dead reboot.
Mhm.
Fede Alvarez, I think, is awesome.
Oh yeah, I
Jane
know the
Levy
Evil
is
Dead
awesome.
Rebel
I'll watch
also.
anything with Jane Levy in it. I think she's great. And so like I watched it, and like everyone's like, "Oh, it's so amazing," and for me, it just didn't live up to that hype. But I still enjoyed myself in the theater.
No, for me, by I think it was like 40 minutes in,
Yeah.
I was making in my head, this thing doesn't make sense. How they survive? How that kid from 13 Reasons Why? But when I saw the movie, I was like, I thought that he was the kid from Percy Jackson. I always confused those kids,
Yeah,
those
Logan
two actors.
Lerman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always confused them both. I was
Yeah.
like, how that kid survived that fall? How that kid survived with the shovel with the blind man?
Mhm.
And the biggest question that I have: how the blind man kidnapped the girl that killed her daughter, bring her back to his home, chain her, jerk off so much, put the jizz on the freezer.
Yes, this is.
That's when the movie like, well, this movie doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I was like, this is, and I still remember like a lot of people, even Color Numbers, like, this is the greatest movie. Like, oh my god, I was like, no. Like I make a list
Mhm.
of all of the nitpicks that I have. I was like, I cannot focus anymore. I
Yeah.
was like, I started like to make the list while I was watching the movie, and I was like, this movie doesn't make sense. And when I finished, I was like, I hate this movie so much.
Oh my god,
And
I would love to see you like debate like someone from Collider who really loves that
no,
movie.
no, I debated with my friend Morgan. We made
Yeah.
like because I hated the Don't Breathe so much, and
Oh
also
man, you should get like a Mark Riley or a Perry Nemiroff on what was it
a fan
fan
friction.
friction,
Oh my god, that
and
would be
just
so
and
cool.
bring that one up. That
Yeah.
would be great.
Also, like talking about, I didn't hate it as much, but that for me was disappointing. Was the witch talking about the
Okay.
horror?
I liked it.
For me, was very predictable. That's the thing
Okay.
that I didn't like from the movie.
It was creepy, definitely a little slow, but that's kind of the point.
For me, the
I-
movie needed more creepiness, needed more horror, and
See,
the girl. Remember that first scene where the girl like makes like a song that she
Yeah.
sings a song to the other kid. Technically, she's foreshadowing the ending.
Hmm.
If you really analyze the song, when she says sang the song was like the movie. I don't care about spoilers. Like the movie's
yeah, it's
gonna
been out for a while.
the movie's gonna end of her getting trained by the witch.
Hmm.
That was the ending.
Wow, I didn't even notice the song foreshadowing anything.
I noticed it like
I've-
the movie. I predicted it in
Yeah.
those for 5 minutes. I was like,
For me, like the whole like Black Phillip thing has been the butt of like a lot of jokes between me and my buddies. Like I'll like every time like I see a goat or something, I'll send a picture to my friend and I'll be like, Black Phillip's watching you, and we get a kick out of it.
yeah. The only
Uh.
scene that I like from the witch is seeing the witch killing the baby. That
Oh,
was creepy, and I
that's-
can admit
ugh.
that's a good scene.
yeah.
That was creepy. I was like, oh, but then the movie goes back to boring folklorish with that language
Yeah.
that I almost understand. I was like,
They-
oh my god, I need
all
subtitles.
those A24 films that have been coming out, they really like hit or miss. I think
Oh, the other one when you say 24, oh, it comes and
I didn't even bother seeing that one.
Oh my god, that movie was so bad. Like I still remember me and my sister were so excited because we only saw the first trailer with the red
Yeah.
door.
It was getting great reviews.
Yeah, and me and my sister were like, my god, we need to see that movie. And then we saw the movie because we avoid the other trailers.
They really mismarketed that one, I think.
We saw the movie, and I remember that we had our friend that he doesn't see a lot of movies, and
Yeah.
then we're teaching him English by watching movies and TV shows. Like we grow up
Hmm.
That's the thing. That's what how we learn English. We learn through movies and TV shows. And so we went to see It Comes at Night, and we were waiting. I was like, when is the horror coming out? What we're gonna see, like the monster? What is the thing that we're afraid of? And
Yeah.
then It Comes at Night is a drama. It's not a horror movie. It's a drama about a disease that never gets explained. You don't know if they're zombies or it's like a disease or you don't know nothing about it.
Hmm.
And then it ends without any answers, without any questions. Like it establishes nothing.
Yeah.
It's like a pilot for a TV show that you're never gonna see.
Hmm.
And that's the thing that I hated so much from 2009 because at first it was a drama, it wasn't horror at all. I can like some people said like you're not even admire the acting. I was like, yes, the acting was great, but I cannot forgive the movie for the mismarketing because I
Yeah.
was waiting for a horror film.
Yeah.
This is a drama. I was like, maybe I can forgive it, but the story I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, that's like the biggest complaint I've heard. Like Chris Stuckman did a whole video about that one.
Yeah,
about
the
how-
analysis.
yeah, they completely mismarketed it, and it was like a big slap in the face. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't even bother seeing that one after I heard all that.
Yeah, and so that's why for me that's one of the most recent ones that I
Mhm.
was like, me and my sister were like, oh my god, this movie was bad. But at the same time, we were discussing. Even my friend, he doesn't see a lot of movies. My friend Tony, he said, but we can admire that the movie was really great shot, that the actors were good.
Mhm.
But we say that both are true, us three in the car at the same time. But we cannot forgive him for the mismarketing and the bad story
Mhm.
and the bad storytelling. We cannot forgive the movie for that.
Yeah.
It's like also like with Rogue One. I cannot forgive Rogue One only because of the Darth Vader scene. For me, Rogue One was very disappointing. I didn't hate it.
I actually really liked it. My first viewing, I'll be honest, the first two acts, kind of underwhelming. Like not bad, but it's just you're watching it and you're like, all right, like this is good, but like when Darth Vader like ignites his lightsaber at the end, I was like all of a sudden because I knew like Christian Harloff and a few other people were saying like there's one scene in the movie that will knock your socks off, and I'm like wait, this is it, isn't it? And I watched it, and there's that one moment where Darth Vader uses the Force and tosses that guy up to the ceiling. When that guy hit the ceiling, my jaw hit the floor. I was just like blown away.
No, for me, that scene I had an orgasm because I wanted to see that scene for 20 years.
Oh, it's awesome.
I imagine a scene like that. I wanted to see Darth Vader, like I just
and-
said, I wanted to see Darth Vader killing people.
Oh yeah, and there's like one part where like I didn't even notice it, where like someone like shoots at him and he deflects the bullet back at the guy like with the Force. I was like, that's awesome. Just that whole scene, and then I saw the movie 4 times in theaters. I think the 4th time I saw it in D box, like the seats that move and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like just a little kid in a candy store because like that moment when the guy hits the ceiling in the chair, you feel the guy hit the ceiling, and I just like was just grinning ear to ear. I loved it, even though there was like a baby behind me that was crying the whole time.
Oh, for me,
Other than that.
the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, the movie is not that bad. It's on the middle.
I really
because I like Diego Luna's character, but I hated so much Jean Erso.
Really?
For me, she's the worst character in the whole movie.
I really liked her. I did.
I didn't like her acting. I didn't like her story.
Okay, wow.
The other thing that I didn't like is the other characters. You don't know much about them. Even though I love Diego Luna, you don't know much about him also.
For me, like, I didn't need to know all that much about them. I think I got just enough because, spoilers here, but in the 3rd act, when they all die, like, I got emotional about it. Like, especially when K2SO, like, bites it. Oh my god. Like, I never, like, felt so sad to see a robot die.
Talking about Flips, I hated that robot so much when he died. I was like, me and my sister, we hated that guy. Like, a lot of people stare at us. I was like, yes! We hated that robot so much.
Oh my god, I loved it.
Me and my sister. I was like, we were
loved
so
it.
happy.
Oh my god! And then when Donnie Yen's character, the whole "I'm one with the Force is with me," I loved it.
I didn't even
Lo-
got sad. Like
Loved it.
the only
I got sad. I
the
did.
only death that got me sad was seeing Diego Luna die.
And I think a lot of people complain about the score Michael Giacchino did.
That wasn't that bad.
I listen to it all the time. I loved it. See, it's not quite Star Wars, and that's something that Christian Harloff complains about. It is that it doesn't quite sound like Star Wars, but it's something new, and people who are people who are kids now watching these movies, for them, that sound that he created in that film, that is going to be Star Wars for them from now on. So it's interesting when you look at it from that point of view. But I think the music's great. The whole music when they all like blow up at the end, I think is amazing. It's just great.
For me, I gave it 2 more chances. I went to see it the second time because I got a coupon for T-Mobile to see it for free. And they got another one, and I saw it on the D-Box the third time. And it was on the same day that Carrie Fisher died.
Oh, wow.
I learned that news before I saw Rogue One again for the third time. And so that scene was more sad when you see Carrie Fisher again.
One small nitpick I have is when you see her at the end and then the credits roll, Michael Giacchino didn't compose like the credits music, like when it got like dun, 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 it was so jarring when it cut from his music into the classic ending Star Wars music. It didn't flow right. It was very jarring to me. Like it definitely sounded like they cut off his music and then took a chunk of John Williams' already pre-recorded ending and just slapped it on, and it just doesn't work for me. On the contrary, the ending of Force Awakens, I think, when that little twist they put on it at the end when Luke, takes his hood off and it rolls into the credits, I think it's perfect.
Yes.
And if we're talking about scores, I think The Force Awakens is the strongest of all the films, musical score-wise. I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very controversial to say, I know, but I think what John Williams did with Rey's theme and the Kylo Ren theme, and the way he mixed it in with all the other classic Star Wars themes, and that whole end bit, the Jedi steps in the finale, which is Rey walking up, and then all the end credits of all the great musical scores from the film composed together, I think it's some of John Williams' best work.
Yeah, talking about going back to Rogue One, I remember the third time I was watching with my mom, and she said, I like Rogue One, but I agree in some things with you. Like, I would have wished to know more about the characters.
Yeah.
And she said the same thing that I did. I was like, I'm glad that Diego Luna was there because he was overshadowing the bad acting of Felicity Jones. I was like, Mom, I love you so much that you notice that woman doesn't know how to act.
Oh, wow.
Before I saw Rogue One, I saw Inferno in the theater because I love the Angels and Demons, the Da Vinci Code, and Inferno was so bad. But when I saw her acting, I was like, I'm gonna hate this girl in Rogue One. I knew it. I already knew 2 months before Zero One that I'm gonna hate this girl.
Wow, I really don't have a problem with her performance at all. I'll have to try to rewatch that from a different perspective and try to see where you're coming from. But for me, I thought she was great.
Yeah, and so since I saw Rogue One, 2 or 3 years before Rogue One, I already knew that Gareth Edwards was gonna do the Godzilla with Darth Vader. I knew it, that he was gonna only show up for like 5 minutes. Darth Vader. That was another thing that I hated the most from Rogue One.
You wanted more?
I wanted more Darth Vader.
See, I don't know, because it's not really his story, though.
I don't care. You established that Darth Vader. You established that Darth Vader. He's killing, and he's around. Yeah. And they said this is a war piece. You need the leader of the Empire killing people, and that's Darth Vader.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from, I guess.
Yeah. And so, like, until right now, almost a year later, I haven't bought Rogue One on Blu-ray because of how much it disappointed me.
Oh, wow.
As a Star Wars fan, that I have all the movies in VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray, I don't have Rogue One.
Honestly, because for me, like, I think I'm gonna have to rewatch all of them again, but to make a definitive list. but Rogue One is in like my top 3 or 4. I think it's I like it a lot. I don't know.
No, for
I
me,
think the big thing is the third act is so strong for me. It's just they nailed it. Like when Tony Gilroy came in and did whatever and
yeah, like
rewrote the movie.
I mean, I
I
can
don't care
admit the final
because
20 minutes, all the battle scenes, they were great.
yes,
But I cannot forgive the whole movie only
the
for
whole
20
part where they
minutes.
put in like the red leader and gold leader. That was
Yeah,
so cool.
that was cool also.
Oh my god.
And I cannot forget that movie for only 20 minutes because the movie, like you just said, like the first two acts has so many bad writing. The characters are not established. Like Gene Erso is so bad.
Mhm.
And I was like, I cannot forgive it. I like for me, I think I make it like a list. Like for me, it's A New Hope, then it's Empire, then it's Return of the Jedi, then it's Episode 3,
Mhm.
then is Episode 2, then is Rogue One, and then it's Episode 1. That's my order of
Okay.
all of the stuff. Sorry, I forgot Force Awakens. Force Awakens is like number 3.
See, let me try to compose my list. I think I would put Empire at number 1, and then I might see. I don't know. I might go back and forth on this. I might put Force Awakens at 2. Actually, I think it's just such a well done film.
Yeah,
And honestly, the lightsaber fight at the end. Some people complain about it. I loved it.
yeah.
I think it's my second favorite lightsaber fight to Luke and Vader in Episode 5. And then 3, I would put A New Hope. See, I don't know. I don't know. See, that's where maybe Rogue One at 4, and then I guess Return of the Jedi, and then Revenge of the Sith, and then I'll just do them 3, 2, 1 at the end. For now, it'll probably change, just off the top of my head. But what was I gonna say? See, Return of the Jedi. I've watched it, and you could tell like that's where George Lucas started going off a bit, and it's a lot like the prequels in a lot of ways. And I know people like John Campio would probably want to strangle me for saying that because that's his favorite, and he's a huge original trilogy guy. Hates the prequels, but just go back and watch Return of the Jedi, and everything that Darth Vader says, picture Hayden Christensen saying it, and you'll understand how terrible like the dialogue is. It's like it's very prequel like his dialogue to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, because like the thing is, James Earl Jones can make anything sound cool, anything. Like all that stuff like about
Here's your caramel latte.
just like like I hate sand. It's coarse and rough. It's everywhere. Like that's immediately 10 times cooler.
That sounds sexy.
Like so some of his dialogue, I'm like, wow, if Hayden Christensen said that, it would be terrible.
Mhm.
So for me, that's just my opinion. I'm probably the only one that thinks that way. So Return of the Jedi is not that good.
Oh,
It's really not.
Until now,
But I mean, I love it because it's Star Wars.
what's your favorite movie of the year so far?
Oh, favorite movie of the year. Oh man, I don't know. I've seen so many this year, especially in like the last month or two. Oh, I don't know, man. Wind River was really good. I like that one a
Oh,
lot.
that's a good one.
What have I
Wind
seen?
River was one of the first movies that I used with Movie Pass 2 months ago.
I didn't sign up for that. I'm still like skeptical. of
I
the
love
whole
Movie
thing.
Pass. Hey, going to the theaters here is very expensive.
Split was Cobster and Cody would love this. Split was a very good theater experience for me. And when I saw Split, I had never seen Unbreakable, but
Ooh.
I'm so familiar with a whole bunch of movies that I haven't seen. The second I saw Bruce Willis on the screen, I knew immediately. I'm like, this is Unbreakable.
Mhm.
And a lot of people knew it immediately once the Unbreakable theme started
Mhm.
playing. Obviously, I was familiar with the theme at that point. But the second Bruce Willis popped up, I just went just gripped my seat. I'm like, wait, this is Unbreakable? Are you kidding me right now? And like, of course, I'm one of the only people that noticed because I guess not too many people would notice
Yeah,
that.
I was in a
And
full
like,
theater.
I was just sitting there. I'm like, the Sham Hammer is back, baby. Like that was a twist.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
For me,
And the movie stands up on its own even without the whole
Yeah.
Unbreakable tie-in.
for
It's a lot
me,
of fun.
Split is still my favorite movie of the year.
Really?
For me, it's the
Oh,
perfect
wow.
movie.
Okay, wow.
Because
Good thing I brought that up.
The
then.
thing you just said, the movie works with the reveal and without the reveal.
Yeah.
because before the reveal, I still remember seeing the movie. I was like, this movie's excellent.
Yeah.
Before that, you see the title Split. I was like, this movie, I love it so much. Like for me, I only saw Unbreakable once in
Mhm.
2001
And
in VHS. So I didn't remember a lot of things from Unbreakable.
Mhm.
So I didn't recognize the music.
Yeah.
And so when you see Split, I remember because we got in and I thought it was like, this is an independent movie. I was living in my small town in Texas. Like a
Mhm.
lot of people are not gonna watch it. We bought our ticket. I was like, it was the we bought the ticket like an hour before. And I was like, we're gonna like because we would like to avoid the trailers. Like it's
Yeah.
like 20 minutes to see like a lot of trailers. I was like, and also that theater doesn't have assigned seating. So I was
Mhm.
like, nah, not a lot of people are gonna buy for this movie. We got in and the theater was full and we saw it on the last row. Like Mark Ellis likes to see the movies like this with the neck all
Uh,
broken.
I like
I hate to be on the road.
I like being in the front, honestly.
No, for
I
me, it's
do.
not good because it distracts me to be like this with the neck like this.
He's leaning back in his chair, looking up at the sky for everyone listening.
No, for me, it distracts me a lot. I have to be on the middle, in the middle road, on the second in the middle seat.
Yeah.
It's like Sheldon in the Big Bang Theory. I have to like the perfect acoustic sound, the perfect viewing, the
Mhm.
perfect spot.
Yeah.
Since I was there, like I always like the middle. That's my
Mhm.
perfect
I mean,
scene
yeah,
for
I'll,
me.
I'll gravitate towards the middle most of the time. Every once in a while, if I'm by myself, I'm gonna sit in the front because I know I can do that by myself, but not with a group of people.
Yeah, and so we were watching the movie.
I don't like being too far back.
And
It's
we were enjoying the movie so far, and I was like, I still remember saying, "No, was a great movie." And then when we saw it split, I was like, and like a lot of people like we're starting like to head up, and then you hear that report was like, "Oh, there's another scene," and like we sit it back, and they were like seeing,
I hate when
and
people jump up. Like
yeah,
our credits that unbearable to sit through. You got to jump up immediately. Like, take your time.
but also in that moment I needed to pee, so
Yeah.
that's why I understand. I was like, and then when I heard about okay, I sit it back, and then I until like the woman said. He's like that guy, 50, that guy in the witch. I was like, no, no, she's friends, no puede ser, no. And I said, Mr. Glass.
Yes.
And I was like, it's unbreakable. And I was the only one in a full theater that got it.
Yeah.
I was so happy with myself. Like, what's unbreakable? My sister, I was like, we need to see it right now. We went to HBO Go because I have
Yeah.
a friend's password and we watched Unbreakable.
I-
And she loved Unbreakable so much and she said, we
Yeah.
need to split again. And we started the following week.
See, I like Split more. I went back and I watched Unbreakable. I watched it a few times because I wanted to give it a chance because I didn't really love it, and I'm like, I get why people like it, but for me the movie is just kind of flat. It's just like, like everyone's whispering in every scene, and it's just like no one ever gets really that excited. It's like the whole movie just is flatlined to me. Like
Interesting.
it stays at this level if I can describe it that way, and just there's no peaks or valleys, just flat across the board. It's the certain pace and temperament of the film where like I just have a hard time really getting into it. So like the whole climax is of the movie, like it's cool. Like obviously that musical score is great. But for me, I think Split was a better film. I mean, it's probably sacrilegious to say.
Oh, and I can agree. I love Unbreakable.
Yeah.
But Split was so damn good. It's because it's not only for the reveal. James McAvoy, the girl from The Witch,
Yeah.
even the crazy lady from The Happening, they were all great.
And for me, also, like, so we're talking spoilers here, but like the ending of Unbreakable. Imagine watching a Superman movie where at the end, Superman confronts Lex Luthor, and he's like, "I know it's you, Lex. You're the bad guy." And Lex Luthor's like, "Yes, I am. You got me." And then all of a sudden, credits roll, and it's just like, and that's when Superman reported Lex Luthor to the proper authorities and went home. And it's like, what? What kind of an ending is that?
Oh, you say nothing but the breakable ending
Yeah.
with like, and he went to an asylum. Was like,
Yeah.
that's my nitpick with
It's like,
Unbreakable. I was like,
it's like if Bruce Willis went home and called the cops and they arrested him. The end. It's like, what? That's a terrible ending. I'm sorry. like the whole scene where they're talking is great, but to end it on that note and just with text say, "Yeah, he called the cops." That's kind of dumb.
That's
Honestly.
another nitpick that I have from Unbreakable. I still remember going to the IMDb. How this movie cost $70 million into the 2000?
Yeah.
This movie looks like a $10-15 million movie.
Yeah, it's pretty small. It's just in scale, really.
Did $40 million went only to Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson?
I mean, they must have had some hell of a food platter every day. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing that I don't get from Unbreakable. And so, yeah, when I saw Split, that's the other thing. When you see movies, you're already making your mind like how's the ending gonna play out, maybe what's gonna be the possible twist.
Yeah.
And Split
I didn't see that
surprised me.
coming. I did not see any of that coming.
I didn't suspect anything. I didn't suspect that
I-
the personalities were controlled by the name. I didn't see the big foreshadowing. Talking about spoilers, the lady technically spoils the ending before before the twist.
Really?
She says, "What if we know about the world that someone has an ability?
Mhm.
There's abilities. There's people around our world." He says to the other person, I was like, "There's not a special being. That's not a special person." She technically foreshadowed the ending.
But in Unbreakable, I mean, that's what it is. You
And I
have
was-
people that have these abilities, right?
Even though she didn't say on a platter, "Hey, this is the Unbreakable universe," but she foreshadowed it.
Yeah.
I was like, "Why didn't
And
I didn't saw
And
that?"
that's one thing I really like about Unbreakable is all of Sam Jackson's stuff where turns out like he was behind all these terrorist attacks because he was looking for somebody with superpowers.
Mhm.
I thought that was really interesting how they did that.
No, especially
It
when
makes him really evil too.
seems like you from last year already have like an idea of how Glass is gonna play out, and I'm
Oh.
so excited if
Yeah.
M Night does it. Like,
I'll be
I'm
there
gonna-
opening night. I will.
I'm gonna give it like in 2 minutes. The movie's gonna start with exactly when the movie left off. We're gonna see Casey, the girl from The Witch. We're gonna see with the cop. It could go two ways. She can say, "Hey, no, my uncle raped me. Arrest him."
Yeah.
Or choice number two, she kills her uncle.
Okay.
She escapes and she finds Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis touches her, and Bruce Willis is already caught up about the story about Kevin Wendell Crumb.
Yeah, I forgot about that ability. That he
And
had.
so, but then Bruce Willis notices that she has powers. And so he's gonna be like a Yoda thing. It's
Yeah.
gonna train her like to develop her power, and then we're gonna cut out on Kevin
Mhm.
going to an asylum, and he's killing a lot of people. It's gonna be like a different levels, like a video game, killing a lot of different people to get to Mr. Glass. And the first scene of Mr. Glass, we're gonna see a window. We're gonna see the camera stumbling, and we're gonna see Mr. Glass like in his wheelchair waiting. And then we see Kevin Wendell come open the door in a lot of blood. Says, "I was looking for you," and then Mr. Glass will say, "I was waiting for you." Like he could say like my apprentice
Yeah,
or
you
something.
put a lot of thought into this.
And so then we're gonna see Mr. Glass manipulating Kevin, like to be the beast again and to killing more people. And the ending scene will be Bruce Willis turns the TV and he sees that Mr. Glass and Kevin Wendell Crumb, they're destroying Philadelphia. We're not going like to New York City, like something big now. It's gonna be in Philly because it has been established in the trilogy. It's in
Yeah.
Philly, and so we see Casey. Maybe her power could be like a shield thing, like she tries to
Mhm.
We're not gonna see it because that's the other thing that I like from M Night. You don't need to show the power. It could be only in the mind. So she's like controlling Kevin like to not attack. And then we're going with the foreshadowing on the first Unbreakable. Remember when Mr. Glass is seeing the painting of the hero fighting battling the beast?
Mhm.
So we're gonna see Mr. Glass remembering that, and we're gonna see Bruce Willis fighting Kevin,
Mhm.
and then
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you. We'll wrap up here.
And so you're gonna see, and then Kevin kills
Mhm.
me, David Dunn, and so
You're gonna kill him
yeah,
in the beginning.
no, at the end,
Oh, okay.
and so then Casey is gonna drop a bomb. It says, "Mr. Glass killed your father." And then we're gonna go back to the split scene where he leaves the flowers in the metro stop.
Yes. Okay.
He's gonna know that his father died in that accident when Bruce Willis was
Yeah.
there. You maybe this is a thing that I haven't added to my pitch.
Mhm.
You can put on like a flashback that Bruce Willis was sitting like a few rows back from his father. You can put it in like by CGI or something, and then Kevin and all his personality. You're gonna see his mind. It's his fault. Because of him, we assisted it. And then you're gonna see Kevin killing Mr. Glass. And Mr. Glass, you're gonna see him dying. And then Mr. Glass, you see his body falling to the floor. And you see Kevin running away. And you see Casey trying to like destroy him. And you see his eyes closing in. And then you see the same window again. You see Mr. Glass, he cannot move at all. He cannot even talk. And you can only see a cry. You can see
A tear?
a tear
Yeah.
in his eye. The whole trilogy was in his mind. The perfect comic book storyline that he wanted to tell.
Uh-huh.
All Unbreakable, Split, and Glass.
It's all in his head.
That's the ultimate twist.
I don't know about that. That's kind of
Because his mind is already broken like glass.
All right, you better call up M. Night Shyamalan and rewrite that script.
That's my pitch.
Yeah. So we got to wrap up because we're getting kicked out of Starbucks. But I just want to say I don't want Anya Taylor-Joy's character to have superpowers. I like that she's a regular person. And I think that kind of gives her this power on her own, that she's just a regular person fighting superpowered beings. I like that dynamic. But anyway. Alrighty. Well, yeah, we just approached the 2-hour mark, so this was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah, enjoyed talking Star Wars and Scream and Split and everything.
So many movies.
Yeah.
And even though like we didn't get like to talk even more, like we wanted to talk at first. So even though it was a great interview, it was a great podcast.
Yeah, we had a lot of great conversation about different movies, and with the new Star Wars coming up, that was a big chunk of the conversation. So.
Oh, also I forgot to plug my podcast, The Monday Show.
Yes, plug everything right now. Go.
Yeah, go to The Monday Show. Just go search on YouTube Troy Everlaxton. That is on his channel. That's the podcast. Also, we're already on the process to do it through iTunes. You can follow me at Raul Beto RGC. Go to the T.U.F.F channel on YouTube, T.U.F.F, and also Upshape channel. And those are my plugs.
All right. And if you're listening to this, you've already found my YouTube channel, which is awesome. Please subscribe and like and comment and whatnot. You could also read a blog, lordsofthefilms.com. That's run by me and my buddy Ryan Fernand. We write a lot of movie reviews, movie-related articles, opinion pieces, Oscar predictions and whatnot. So definitely check that out. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BrandonHanna07. All right. Well, thank you for listening for the very first installment of Friends, Physics, and Film podcast. And hopefully we'll get another one of these up pretty soon. All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.